didn't see myself on the screen. Hello there. My name is Wendy Van Camp. I'm an author, a poet, and an illustrator. I'm going to be reading a selection of my poetry and a short story, time friendly anyway. And also, I just wanted to point out that I do illustrate my poetry, and it is in the NASFiC art show today. So please stop by the art show and have a look if you're interested. The first poems I'm going to read to you are from my book, The Planets, which is right here. The Planets has been nominated for a 2020 Elgin Award, and it features sci-fi coup poetry. For those of you that don't know, sci-fi coup is science fiction themed haiku poems. Some of the poems are also considered astropoetry, which is poetry of a scientific theme. So let's get started. The first poem is called Mercury. I circle the sun in spin orbit resonance, lonely messenger. The next one is called Venus Impact. Sulfuric air of Venus burns meteors of certain size. Small rocks need not apply. The next one is called Dysphoria. Life springs from Earth. Humans are as seeds on the wind, colonizing worlds. The next one is called Oceanus. We call our home Earth, part of our short-sighted hubris on a world of water. The next one is called Mars. This elderly world, lost global magnetic field, can't hold its breath. The next one is called Canals. Mistaken translation, Italian canali creates hope of Martian life. The next one is called Jupiter's Rings. One bright main ring, the halo forms an inner torus, on edge glimmers gossamer dust. And I have one about Saturn's rings as well. Rings spin their own path within the great giant disk, mind the Cassini gap. Saturn's attraction. Love is magnetism, as sparks flash in my winds, metallic hydrogen dynamo. And I did one about its moon Titan. Your deep canyons hold rivers of hydrocarbons where we plant our flag. The next one is Enceladus geysers. Hot geysers take aim at Saturn's magnetosphere, mingle and merge. And the next one is Uranus breath. In monotonous teal, methane hides soul of giant. Wild winds storm beneath. And I have one called Deep Blue World. Methane, not the reason, what secrets lie beneath of Neptune's royal blue. And the final one from the collection is Planet Pluto. In the Kuiper belt, dwarves mingle with comets. Size doesn't matter. And then I'd like to read just a few more sci-fi coup before we go into some longer forms. These are ones that published in Far Horizons magazine back in March of 2016. The first one is about Tabby Star. 1,500 light years, human warp drive propels ship. Odd pulses promise life. The next one is called Dyson Swarm. Hold my place forever, lonely swarm of graphene sails, wireless energy transfer. The next one I called Dyson Ring. One by one we encircle, stalactites self-replicating ring, star energy captured. And the last sci-fi coup of the of the 20 minutes. It's called Abandoned Sphere. Lack of radiation, dead stalactites enclose alien star. We claim all salvage rights. Anyway, that is the end of the sci-fi coup portion. I hope you enjoyed it. Sci-fi coup is, I think it's starting to catch on. It's been around 40 or 50 years. It's not a form that I invented. It's something that I kind of picked up on. And it's just a lot of fun. And if you haven't tried it before, I urge you to give it a shot. Anyway, I'm going to read another poem. This is one that just published recently in the spring issue of the Starlight Emporium magazine. It was their summer of 2020 issue. And it's about the SpaceX launch. I mean, I know this year we've been maybe focused a little bit about the negativity that's been going on. I wanted to write something that was more uplifting and more, just something of a different nature, let's say. Anyway, this poem is in 3 parts. It's loosely based off of Chaucer's madrigal form, and we're going to get started. The first part is called Apollo. At dawn, the monolith rises with brave men to ascend the heavens. We will journey to the moon. The nation holds its collective breath as television cameras spy. At dawn, the monolith rises with brave men to ascend the heavens. On magnificent blossoms of fire, Kennedy's dream comes to life. We see our world with new eyes. At dawn, the monolith rises with brave men to ascend the heavens. We will journey to the moon. Part 2 from pad 39-A is entitled Endeavor. Over and over, the flying brick transports humans into orbit, landing home after her mission. When the Challenger explodes, we grow fearful of outer space. Over and over, the flying brick transports humans into orbit. Astronauts float in the space station, performing great experiments the earthbound do not comprehend. Over and over, the flying brick transports humans into orbit, landing home after her mission. And part 3 is called Dragon. The rising dragon is a javelin with precision pierces the sky, leaping forth from pad 39-A. Despite masks and social distance, the nation relives Apollo mystique. The rising dragon is a javelin with precision pierces the sky. Former shuttle pilots renamed SpaceX craft their Endeavor, bringing the past into the future. The rising dragon is a javelin with precision pierces the sky, leaping forth from pad 39A. Anyway, that is the end of the poetry. I am a poet, but I'm also an author, and I thought I would go ahead and read to you a short story. It's been published a couple of times. The most recent is in Quantum Visions Next, which is available on Amazon. And, well, let's just go ahead and get started. We can rebuild him. I am an odd woman with my mysterious boxes. My past is murky. My dirty is clear. I enter the patient's room, a shiny badge on my lanyard, Cyborg Division, the Special Forces. Wrapped in bandages with tubes pointed in all directions, the young soldier rests. The machines keep him alive. No legs, missing an arm, one eye gone. I take in his condition with an experienced glance before I move to his bedside. Corporal Jack Casey, maimed in action off of asteroid Circes last month. Purple Heart, commendation for bravery. We can rebuild him. The technology is proven. In my hands is a box of the forms to take him from the hospital. His wife's signature on the dotted line released him to my care. I remember her tears as she signed and turned away. When we finish, he may or may not remember her. At least he would be alive. She took comfort in that. We all do our part in the war. Good day, Corporal Casey. I always start with a verbal greeting. A cyborg does have a human component, and it is protocol to acknowledge the man before the machine, even before transformation. A brown eye opens and gazes at me through the dullness of pain. I am Major Stewart. I am transporting you to Empire Clinic. You have been transferred to Cyborg Division. The eye widens, and a gurgling sound comes from the tubes in his mouth. Resistance. He has no choice between his contract with Special Forces and his family sign-off. He belongs to us now. I place a middle hand on his shoulder. My own conversion happened 2 years ago when my fighter had broken up over Phoebus, a moon of Mars. I do not remember much of my manufacturing, but I am better now. Faster, stronger, smarter. Your wife has been informed of your condition. Without intervention, you will die. The single brown eye stares into my face. I will see you safe to the clinic. We will do all we can to save you, Corporal. The brown eye closes. His muscles relax. Acceptance. I wheel his bed into the hallway, waving off the orderlies, and take him to the roof where a shuttle waits. We board, and I lock his bed into the hole. As we fly to the clinic, I remain standing by his side, monitoring fluids, checking his heart rate. It would not be long now. At the clinic, I sign Corporal Casey off at the front desk. The human wheel of his, the human's wheel is bed to surgery. I return to my sparse quarters. Gray blank walls, white sheets tucked in tight corners, standard issue blanket. I stood at the shelf that served as my desk. A chrome frame rests on the hard shelf, face down. I don't remember who the face in the frame is, but I never remove it from the desk. At a touch, the console sputters into life. A chart floats there, rows of boxes. All but one has a check inside. I call up the Empire News. Images of Mars burst onto the screen. Earth tightens the net around the red planet and his colony cities. Ungrateful upstarts, followers of the dark gods of war. Losses have been heavy. Our one battle edge is with enhanced fighters, cyborgs, once merely human, now so much more. We need every soldier to turn the tide. I turn off the screen and sit on the bed. I would not know of the corporal's final status until his surgery was complete. He would receive one of the new chassis coming off of the production line, a body tooled by the finest robots in the Empire. It would outshine my own beat-up carcass. Would his body accept the new implants? Each case was unique. I lie on the bed and power down my systems. My neat brain is the weak link. It needs sleep. There is a beep in my room's console. Major Stewart, report to Recovery Room 4. Acknowledge. I power up my systems. Many hours have passed. My mind has refreshed. On my way, Stewart out. I walk down the plain white corridor of the clinic. The fuzzy gray tiles under my metal power boots muffle their clinking noise. The recovery room was not far from my quarters. On a tilted vertical workbench, my charge hangs. Buffed middle legs and right arm melded to the metal housing that protects the new cyborg's neat body. Inserted into his eye socket, a new telescopic iris gleams in the sterile light. Left intact are a mop of black hair and most of his face and neckline. I would have found him attractive in the old days before my conversion. Today, he is a fresh cog in the machine. The human technician comes forward, a tablet in hand, hair in a perfect bun, clean glasses. What is the corporal's status, I ask. Conversion is complete. His body has not rejected the implants. He is ready for transport. Her voice is neutral, no betrayal of emotions. I wonder how many cyborgs she has added to our ranks. Very good. A pair of orderlies stand near a long metal tube. There is a glass window on top of half of the box. I hesitate to complete the transfer of my charge. I stand beside Casey's workbench. He is awake. What is your name, Corporal? I don't know. You tell me. Memory loss? It is a common side effect of conversion. His voice is a pleasant tenor, but there is a quaver in the tone. The arrogant young man I read of in his file has disappeared. I would help him find his old polished swagger in training. Jack Casey, Corporal of Earth's Special Forces. What happened? He asked. His language skills are intact. Good. The war happened, I tell him. You fell in battle. I pause to allow the realization to sink in. Your memory will return as your body and brain heals from the connection to your chassis. You were assigned to my platoon in Enhanced Forces. We leave for training on Gamma Station, ASAP. At the station, his file would reveal all. Names, places, medals, ships served on. Nothing hidden from him. Would it matter? I thought of the frame on my desk, the face I seldom look upon, but never remove. The corporal looks down at his shiny body. He lifts a pair of hands to examine. One human, one metal. The new cyborg shuddered. First, there was always shock. It would be many weeks before acceptance of his situation occurs. Yes, sir. The corporal lifts himself from the workbench without warning. The chassis moves with the smoothness of fluid. He would be poetry in motion once he gains complete control of his new body. Now he is an awkward child. The two orderlies rushed forward. They steady the corporal before he falls to the floor. Initiate transfer. I speak to the orderlies. They fasten cables to the corporal's chassis. He weighs double what a normal human would. Machines must lift him into the waiting box. They settle the soldier into the transport tube and hook up his air. Administered drugs allow him to sleep during transport. I supervise the process. On my tablet, I check off the last box in my chart. As the soldier sleeps, I take the tube through the halls of the clinic to the cargo bay. A shuttle waits for me, its main hatch open. There is a long row of transport tubes queued for drones to load them into the shuttle. Casey joins the ranks of his new family. Together, they would learn to use their new bodies. Together, they would regain their battle skills. Then, I thought in satisfaction, it would be time to murder some dark gods. And that is the end of the short story. And I see we're just about out of time. Thank you very much for coming to hear my reading. This is the first time I've read at a convention, and I'm very pleased to share my poetry and my short stories with you. If you'd like to see more of my writing, please do visit my website, nowastedink.com. There I have interviews of up-and-coming authors. I do book reviews of classic science fiction and fantasy books. You see examples of my poetry. I do a top 10 of writing articles for writers of science fiction and fantasy. And let's see. Oh, also, I am on Medium as a regular writer. That tends to be more memoir, poems, and articles. One of my main magazines there is Writing Cooperative. And I also can be found on Curious Fictions. If you like my poetry, generally that's where it's published. Anyway, thank you. And I will hopefully see somebody in the chat room. Take care.